Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful time. JC, 2.5 Gamers UK, and today you've got me in this video to basically talk about, well, you know what we're going to talk about. You've read the title of the video, and not going to lie, I'm also wearing the appropriate shirt today. I look down there because there's a preview little thing of me recording this. I have to actually try not to look at it during the whole time of this recording so I can look directly into the camera and also directly into your soul. Anyway, so yeah, that's not why you're here today. You're obviously here to see my review of Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings. Now, yes, at the beginning of Project Shadow, I basically said that I was going to review this 3-episode mini-series. And I don't know what to call this, because it's not an anime. I mean, it has an anime-ish art style, but it's not like a full-on series. It's weird. Sega have lately been doing these prequel animations on YouTube, right? Which, by the way, yes, this whole thing you can watch for free on YouTube. It's 3 episodes long. Well, at least this one specifically. And also, there's a big old compilation where they just put all 3 episodes together. So the whole thing in total was only like 14 minutes long. But Sega lately, I will admit I've been loving it, don't get me wrong, but they've been doing these like little prequel animations to certain Sonic games. I think it's brilliant. Like, if I had to talk about all of them as a whole, I think that Sega doing these is really cool. I think it goes back far, like it goes as far back as Sonic Mania. Like, the first one was Sonic Mania, that had like a little prequel animation. Then they done it with Sonic Superstars. They also done it with Team Sonic Racing as well. They've just been doing these little animated shorts, but they're not shorts either, like, because they're not YouTube shorts. They're like just short little animations where they'll just take whatever Sonic game is coming up and they'll do a little animation for it. Like, in fact, you know what? Sonic Frontiers had one. There we go. Sonic Frontiers had one about Knuckles, and it was like, it's really interesting to see. And the thing is that they've been doing this for free on YouTube. Well, I say for free. I'm sure, obviously, YouTube is paying them ad revenue, and they're probably also promotion of the games and things like that. Like, hopefully, the people animating this stuff are getting paid and able to pay their bills, because the quality of these animations is really good, and that's no exception to this one. But anyway, side tangent over. What did I think of Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings? Well, let's just start by reviewing the title. Fuck me, it's a long title. Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings. Really, they could have done with scrubbing away the Sonic part. It could have just been called Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings or Shadow Dark Beginnings, just something like that. The Sonic X, obviously, it's to promote the game. That's why they put Sonic X Shadow Generations. But Sonic's not even in it. Like, he's not even in this little prequel animation. It's mainly about Shadow, and it's mainly about the events leading up to Shadow's story in Sonic X Shadow Generations. Well, again, the Shadow Generations part. Because where the story ends in this animation is literally right where the game begins. So obviously, if you've not played Sonic X Shadow Generations, well, I don't even know why you're watching this video, but you might have seen me play it, because probably by the time I upload this recording, episode 1 of me playing Sonic X Shadow Generations will be on the YouTube, maybe even episode 2. Yeah, where this animation ends is right where the game begins. And again, Sega's been doing this with a lot of their games lately, because like I said, even Sonic Frontiers, they've done one about Knuckles, and where that animation ends is also where Sonic Frontiers begins. So again, I love it. I think it's brilliant. And yeah, this little animated series, so what they first did was they released it in 3 parts, 3 episodes. Each episode's about 4 to 5 minutes each. Like I say, there is also a big compilation one where it's 14 minutes with no breaks in between, aside from YouTube ads, obviously. And you can watch all of them back to back. Yeah, so they released like episode 1, then I think a week later episode 2, then a week later episode 3. I obviously watched them weekly as they came out, but also just before I hit record, I also watched it again because I wanted it to be fresh in my memory. It really does not take that long to watch. Literally 14 minutes, I grabbed some snacks, watched it. It's really not that long. If anything, I wish it was kind of a little bit longer. Don't get me wrong, it's great length, like, and it serves its purpose. It is literally just to hype up the game, because if you weren't already going to get the game, watching this makes you want to get the game even more. Like, I will say, it does its job. Like, it really does sell you the whole, and plus you want to know what happens next, which, to find out what happens next, you've got to play the game. So again, it serves its purpose in doing that. If anything, they could have just released all of them at once. Like, that's also a thing I'll critique in this review, is the release schedule. I get doing 1 a week, but they could have just released the whole thing in one go. Or I wish, like I said, if it was longer, then maybe 3 14-minute episodes, you know, or 3 20-minute episodes. Then it could have actually been like a proper anime. But again, I can't really call it an anime because it's not. Like, it's just 3 short little animations building up to the game, and they're really good. Like, I will say, the animation style in this is really good. Let's talk about that. So the animation that they went for, which I find quite cool, they didn't do this with the other animations they've done, but with this one they did. They went for like a sort of, can you call it 2.5D? It kind of feels like 2.5D. In the sense of, some sequences are 2D, like for example when the characters are static, like when they're not moving, or even some sequences when, like, there's one sequence where Shadow's walking towards the camera, which is actually in the thumbnail that I'm staring at my TV as well, because I still have the thumbnail of the thing on my TV. Those sequences look 2D. However, the fight scenes and the scenes where Shadow's moving, like, you know, when he's gliding around on his, like, air shoes, and the scenes, yeah, just any sort of scenes that have motion, like even there's a scene where he's fighting a load of gunships, they're all in 3D, so there's like this weird but cool blend of 2D and 3D animation, and they go really well together, I will say. Like, it does look really, really cool. If anything, like I said, I just wish this was longer, or I could even have a whole TV series like this, which I know there's already a Sonic TV series that's fairly recent, which is Sonic Prime on Netflix. I mean, let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do a review of that. Obviously, we're keeping it strictly gaming themed. Like, obviously, we've done the Sonic movie reviews. I'm now reviewing this. We might do some other video game movie reviews. Obviously, we're 2.5 gamers, not 2.5 TV. So, unless we make another channel where we strictly review TV shows, we're mainly going to keep it gaming related here on the channel. And also, me rambling like this is how you can tell these reviews are not scripted. They are literally not scripted. I just watch the thing, hit record, and here we go. But yeah, I just wish, like, with how good the animation is, obviously I can imagine it must have taken a really long time to do. Like, a really, really long time. I mean, we're still waiting for the next Spider-Verse film to come out because that's taking long to animate. These sorts of films, even though this isn't a film, but it's still just 3 little animations, they still take a while. And the thing is I don't know if this was done in-house by Sega, or if it was done by a third-party team, or if it was done by sort of both. But I'd like to imagine that they must have been doing this whilst working on the game at the same time, which games take a long time to make, so I can imagine this animation must have took a long time to make alongside the game. So I get that people worked hard on this, and I hope those people got paid adequately and elegantly, because again, they've done a phenomenal job. The animation is stunning. I really enjoyed it. Again, I could watch an entire series, or even like a mini film. Not like a big screen film. Like, I wouldn't turn this into a movie that you play in cinema. I'll save that for the live action Sonic films, which we've now already watched and reviewed. A mini sort of like something you'd watch on Netflix, Amazon Prime, you know, like a mini sort of film series that they could put on in this style. Again, I need to watch Sonic Prime. I know that that's got a different art style, which is still quite cool. And again, if you guys want me to review that, let me know in the comments, and demolish the like button. If we get maybe even enough likes, I'll do, and comments, obviously, I'll do a review of that. But yeah, the animation style is really, really cool. The characters look really good, like Shadow, Team Dark, which, by the way, yeah, when we get into the actual, like, I'll break down each episode one by one. Right now I'm just talking in general, but I'll break down each episode one by one. Yeah, Team Dark appear in episode 2 and a bit of episode 3. They are absolutely phenomenal to look at in this animation style. Again, I've got like the thumbnails on my TV as I'm recording this, and the thumbnail for episode 2 is Shadow standing with Team Dark. I'll obviously edit in a picture. They just look so good. The animation is so good. Very fluid. Obviously, it's animated at 30 frames a second, but I'm sure someone will upload a 60 frames a second version, which actually would work, because with the blend of the 2D and the 3D bits in 60 FPS would look really, really crisp. But don't get me wrong, most animations in 30, if not 25 FPS, so it still looks quite good. Right, now let's actually get into the episode. So like I said, there's only 3, and it takes about 14 minutes to watch all 3 of them. Like I say, you can watch them all back to back with one big compilation video, or if you want to watch them individually, I guess you can do that too. They did release individually, but again, you might as well watch all 3 of them with no breaks in between aside from YouTube ads. So episode 1, really interesting. It's basically, so Shadow was looking at the Space Colony Ark, and suddenly has like PTSD of the events that happened prior to everything. Like, we get a flashback 50 years ago, we see Shadow with Maria, and you know, they're spending time together, and it's like a little cute backstory moment. Also, we saw this in Sonic Movie 3. It's Shadow's backstory. We know Shadow's backstory, that he spent a lot of time with Maria, they spent a lot of time on the Ark, and then obviously Maria died. One thing that confused me though, and I don't know if it's a retcon or if it was in Shadow's head. So basically, Shadow's having these PTSD flashbacks. Now, in the flashbacks, he remembers the Ark being attacked by Gemerald. I think it's Gemerald or Gemerald, the robot from the Sonic Game Boy Advance games, right? And obviously he fights the robot. This is where we get our first fight scene, which is, again, beautifully animated. Like I said, it starts off 2D, then when Shadow goes to fight Gemerald, it's all so cool and 3D, and he's moving around really quick, and Gemeral's like attacking him, and it's just, again, do yourself a favour, it's free on YouTube, just watch this series, like, I cannot praise it enough. But the choreography, the animation, stunning, really, really good. Love the fight scenes in this series. Again, just wish there was more of them, to be honest. It's very, very quick. But I don't know if this is Sega trying to retcon what happened. I mean, I know Gun show up at the end, and you do still kind of see Maria die. You basically see, like, they don't fully show her death. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to show a child being killed on screen. And obviously that's the darkest thing the Sonic franchise has ever done, is literally kill a child on screen. But you do quickly see flashes of the Gun soldiers and Maria dying right before she says, "Sayonara, Shadow," the line that always hits me in the feels, especially the original Sonic Adventure 2 and in Japanese dubbed. Oh my god, that line hits so hard. But yeah, you see Maria die. Now again, I don't know if they're retconning it to add Gemeral in it, which if they are, that's kind of cool. But at the same time, this is Shadow having a flashback. Like, when he snaps out of it, you see him use Chaos Control on like a tree, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird. Like, why am I having this memory now?" And he looks up at the Ark, and he thinks that, like, looking at the Ark has something to do with it. Like I say, this ties into Shadow Generations, in Sonic X Shadow Generations, where we obviously know that something's going on, and it mainly has to do with Black Doom and Shadow having to get answers, which, yeah, that's exactly what happens at the end of the episode. Shadow, after having this PTSD nightmare, is like, right, I need to get answers. So he immediately sets off to go to the Space Colony Ark. And this is where Episode 2 kicks off. Episode 2, like I say, it's very quick. It's only 14 minutes. But Episode 2, so Shadow goes to the pyramid. The exact same pyramid, by the way, and I absolutely love this reference. It's the exact same pyramid from Sonic Adventure 2. However, it's now been taken over by Eggman. There's a big neon Eggman sign. Egg robots are everywhere. And Shadow gets there, and there's already a fight breaking out with Omega and the Egg Robots, which another reference I also love. I love the fact that Omega is just randomly going around destroying Eggman robots. It's exactly his motivation in Sonic Heroes, and he's still doing that now. Like, when he's shooting the robots, he's there going, "Die, you inferior copies," and it's just like, it's just so funny to see, and you can see that, again, Sega must have had a really big... I'm still curious if they animated this themselves, or if they got a company to do it and they just directed it. But, I mean, anyone, feel free to let me know in the comments, like, actually, if you know whether Sega animated this or they got someone to do it, please let me know in the comments. Maybe even if you work for Sega and you're watching this video, God, wouldn't that be a dream? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, so Shadow gets to the pyramid, Omega's destroying robots, Shadow's a bit like, "Oh, okay, Omega's here, cool." But then also, Rouge is here! So then Rouge flies over to Shadow, and in typical Rouge fashion, she teases him, flirts with him a little bit, and then asks why he's there. And Shadow's like, "Well, hang on a minute, like, well, I'm trying to get to the Space Colony Ark using the shuttle that's inside the pyramid. Why are you here?" And then it turns out Rouge has been hired by Gun to seek intel. Now, obviously, we know in Sonic 06, Shadow, Rouge, and Omega become Gun agents. Don't know why, because Gun are the people that killed the very person Shadow loves, but they become Gun agents. I guess that's how important and powerful forgiving and forgetting is, when you can work for the people that murdered one of your loved ones. Although, saying that, the Gun General is also Maria's brother, so yeah. But anyway, so Rouge is there getting intel for Gun. So they're all three of them, they team up. There's a really cool, again, fight scenes. All the fight scenes are so cool to watch in this series. You get to see Team Dark. We have not seen Team Dark on screen together, literally like this, in this style, since Sonic 06. So it's really cool to see them all on screen together. Again, they look absolutely amazing. It's just nice to see them together. And I also like the fact that it shows that Shadow's not always alone. You know, like, a lot of, like, Sonic media portrays Shadow as just being this loner who doesn't ask for help and doesn't, like, team up with anyone. Like, he just does his own thing, which I know normally he does. But he does also have friends. Like, he's not an absolute bum with no friends. He has Team Dark. And straight away, Rouge offers to help him. And like I say, Sonic's not in this at all, but he does get mentioned. Rouge basically says to Shadow, "Well, listen, this pyramid's no longer a space shuttle anymore, so you can't get to the Ark from here. I can get you a spaceship, but in return, please promise me you'll come to Sonic's birthday party," which, that again, like I say, ties into the game, because obviously Shadow Generations and Sonic Generations happen at the exact same time, and Sonic's birthday's coming up. So Rouge basically says to Shadow, "Right, if I help you get a ship, will you come to Sonic's birthday?" And Shadow's a bit like, "Ugh, if I have to," which I love that as well. That had me creasing up. The fact that, like, even though, so Sonic and Shadow are rivals, and they obviously team up, and they have, like, a bit of friendly banter, but I also love the fact that Shadow kind of just doesn't like Sonic. Like, it's actually a bit funny. Like, he'll save his life if he needs to. He'll also fight him if he needs to. But there's kind of a bit of like really, I gotta hang out with that guy, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? It's like that one co-worker you dread seeing at work, but you still gotta be nice to him because obviously you work together. I love that Shadow kind of has that reaction. Like, Rouge is there trying to be all like friendly and be like, hey, come on, you know, I'll help you if you come to Sonic's birthday. Which even that, Shadow has to be blackmailed to go to Sonic's birthday. Like, what is that even about? But that goes to show, like, again, the level of the character building, the development. If anything, just give me more of this. I literally would love a new Sonic animated series that fleshes things out even more. I know we've already got one. We've got Sonic Prime. Maybe they'll do another season of that show, I'm not sure. But I just love little moments like this. And because it's canon to the games, you know that these little things can crop up anywhere in the games as well. Although saying that, this Shadow Generations animation thing isn't actually in Sonic X Shadow Generations. Like, when you play the game, there's no like thing in the menus where you can go to watch this series. As I say, it's all on YouTube for free. But I think there was a missed opportunity that Sega could have maybe taken advantage of, which is they could have actually put this in the game, you know, like in the menu somewhere, or even as a limited edition. Like, you could have released a collector's edition for Sonic X Shadow Generations that maybe comes with these on DVD in like 4K, you know, like really good IMAX quality, you know, and then like you get this DVD and you can watch it before you play the games. There is a prequel animation or prequel style thing in Sonic X Shadow Generations. I actually think I watched it on stream right before I started playing the game, which if I did, I'll edit that in on screen now, with obviously me talking over it. But there isn't this animation in the games. Like, this is just on YouTube for free for you to watch whenever you want, which again, I have no problem with. But again, there's a bit of a missed opportunity here. Like, you know, they could have had this on a DVD, they could have had this in the game somewhere, especially where it leads up to the game. You could have had this be the prequel animation. Like, instead of that Shadow backstory animation that you get in the game, you could have had this instead, and it still would have done just as good, if not a better job, of setting things up for Shadow Generations. So, missed opportunity there. But yeah, going back to what I was saying earlier, you can really tell I don't script these reviews, but it was just really cool to see Team Dark together on screen again. It just makes me want another Team Dark game, to be honest. Like, not just Shadow. Obviously, Shadow Generations is brilliant, and I think Shadow now, this game does a better job of setting up Shadow to spin off into his own series, which his own standalone game didn't do in 2005? 2005. But yeah, this does a way better job of setting Shadow up now to kind of just do his own thing. Like, I think Sega wanted Shadow to sort of branch away from Sonic, which is what they tried to do with Shadow the Hedgehog, but that game was a piece of shit. Sonic X Shadow Generations is way better, and this animation is way better, so now I think you could actually do your own thing with Shadow and turn him into his own sort of older brother series to Sonic. Like, everyone will still love Sonic, but I actually, if anything, want more Shadow now. Like, this is definitely, I mean, again, I'm wearing the shirt, like, this is just, I mean, it's all for the year of Shadow, which was last year. I mean, I'm recording this now in 2025, but the year of Shadow was basically last year, 2024, with all the stuff they were doing, which is now over. But if anything, I think just keep it going, to be honest. Or give another Sonic character their own dedicated year, but I definitely think Shadow now can go off and do his own thing. Like, you can make a series of Shadow games, and so long as they're as good as Sonic X Shadow Generations, then that's fine by me. And again, maybe even an animated series just about Shadow. I would happily sit there and watch it, because I sat there and watched this, even though it's not very long. But yeah, so now that spins off into Episode 3. Episode 3, they go to a gun base. You see a giant gun robot, you see the little gun robots as well, which are all references to Sonic Adventure 2, which I absolutely love. Whenever they reference any of the Sonic games in other media, I absolutely love it. Obviously, the third Sonic film had loads of Sonic Adventure 2 references. If you want to see us talk about that, like I say, we have a review of that, which, you know what, I'll stick the thumbnail here. Or actually, maybe over here. It would probably, there's more space here for me to put the thumbnail. I don't know why I pointed here first. I'll stick the thumbnail here. Go watch that review. There'll also probably be a link at the end. So episode 3, they're at this gun base. They're attacking all these robots and things like that. Rouge is hacking a terminal so that Shadow can get to the shuttle. Shadow fights one of these giant robots, which is definitely got to be a boss from Sonic Adventure 2. Omega's shooting all these little robots, again calling them inferior, although they're not Eggman robots, but I guess Omega just hates any machine that's not him. If it's a machine and it's not Omega, he doesn't like it, it can't exist, it must be exterminated. You know what? I actually would love to see Omega fight Gemerald. That would be a really, really cool fight. Like, that would actually be quite interesting. Make it happen, Sega. I'm giving you ideas here. I'm not asking for much, but if you do it, just a little bit of change in the old JC wallet or 2.5 Gamers wallet would go a long way. So, you know, keep me in mind. But yeah, so Shadow goes to the shuttle. Rouge is trying to hack it, but things are going horribly wrong. And that's when we get the Gun General appear. Now, he actually does appear as well in episode 2. Episode 2, I forgot to mention, there was a bit of a flashback in episode 2, where the Gun General, Maria's brother, calls Shadow a freak, and then he runs off, and you know it's him because he has the same discoloured eyes, which they never explain. Why are his eyes 2 different colours? They never explain that. In Shadow the Hedgehog, there was an opportunity to explain it. In this, they don't. But that's how you know it's him, because he has the 2 discoloured eyes. And yeah, so he shows up in episode 3, as well as a bit of episode 2, and he basically helps Rouge hack the terminal. Well, I guess not hack it, he owns it. So it's like, he activates like a thing, and he basically says to Rouge and Shadow, if Shadow just asked, I would have let him use the shuttle. Like, I don't know why he went to these lengths to blow up my base and steal a shuttle when literally all he had to do was ask, and I would have given it to him, which that cracks me up as well. I guess Shadow's just too cool and too badass to ask for help. Plus, I guess he is kind of also dicking around with Gun a little bit. They did kill the person he cares about. I guess it's his way of trolling, I guess. Like, is that Shadow's sense of humour? Is that like what he finds funny, instead of asking people for help that he... And as well, they work for Gun. Like I said, they become agents of Gun in Sonic 06, so Shadow really just had to go into work. He could have gone up to his boss, the Gun General, and been like, hey, I need to go to the Ark. Can I borrow your shuttle? And they would have been like, yeah. But he doesn't do that, which is really, really funny. He just does not do that. He decides, nope, I'm going to just go in, destroy this base, absolutely mess everything up, and then he steals the shuttle, and the Gun General was like, he didn't have to steal it, I would have just given it to him. So that happens, and then Rouge gives the Gun General the intel that she stole, which is actually really, really cool as well, because that's another Sonic Generations reference, which is the intel she stole was about the Time Eater. Now, I thought that was really cool, because that links that together. So, it looks like Gun were aware that Eggman had the Time Eater, and that was going on, although they still didn't do anything, and the Time Eater attacks Sonic's birthday. Meanwhile, Shadow goes up to the Ark, and it turns out Gun was also aware that something was going on the Ark, because they detected an anomaly on the Ark, and that's also... So, if anything, they were going to send Shadow there anyway. Like, this again cracks me up with the levels of humour in the Sonic franchise, is the fact that you have Shadow, he has PTSD about something going on the Ark, Gun are already aware, he then decides to not ask them for help, destroy all of their shit, steal their rocket, and it's like, it could have been for a mission that they would have sent him on anyway. Make it make sense, but that is really funny, and I love that sense of humour. It's very subtle humour. Like, the thing is, they don't really crack too many jokes. There's no, like, this isn't like the MCU, or like, you know, like where things feel too kiddie and they crack little one-liners and you think, okay, yeah, like, this is made for kids, okay, ha ha ha, very funny. No, the thing is, the humour's very subtle, but I prefer that, because it's things that, like, as a Sonic fan, you kind of chuckle at, because you realise that it all just sort of makes sense. Like, Shadow doesn't need to make jokes, Shadow doesn't need to say one-liners, but just the fact of, at the very end, the Gun General going, you know, if he asked, I would have just given this to him. And then it actually does make you think. It makes you go, hang on a minute. Actually, yeah, why didn't Shadow just ask? He works for these people and he decides to blow up his own employers and steal their rocket when it's really funny, subtle humour. And that's another thing as well. The dialogue and the voice acting, phenomenal. Everyone's voiced by the people that voice them in the games. So that's also really good. But I like that they didn't go out of their way to make the humour cringe. They didn't go out of their way to have, again, Shadow cracking jokes, Omega cracking jokes, Rouge cracking jokes, the Gun General cracking jokes. I mean, again, like, what the Gun General said was funny, but it wasn't a joke. He was being serious. Like, he helps Shadow and says, why didn't Shadow just ask me for help? And it's that level of dialogue and frustration, which, again, as a Sonic fan, you'll realise and go, oh yeah, why didn't Shadow do that? And that makes you laugh, because it's just too funny. Or, I guess, as well, Omega destroying all the robots, calling them inferior copies. Again, Sonic fans will absolutely love this, and there are a lot of references that you can pick apart. Would I recommend non-Sonic fans watch this? I mean, I guess, but I don't think you'll understand the references too much. You have to really be a Sonic fan, but this is made by Sega for the Sonic community, so it kind of makes sense. I guess that could also be another little nitpick. They could have made it a bit more broader, a bit more like, you know, so everyone can enjoy it. I mean, you can still enjoy it. The animation's beautiful. The voice acting's great. Like I say, it makes you want to buy the game, which I already own. It makes you want to have another season or another little series of just this, but it mainly is catered towards Sonic fans, especially Shadow fans. Like, there is references to, like I said, SA2, Shadow the Hedgehog. So unless you've played those games, you aren't going to pick up on the little clues. Obviously I do, because I played those games. And as well, if you want to see me do that, that's all in the Project Shadow playlist. So you can watch me go through this journey, playing all the Shadow games. And maybe once you've seen me do all that, then you can come back and watch this animation. Then you can even come back and watch this review. There you go. But I will say, yeah, this is very, very well done. Very, very cool. I'm loving the fact that Sega's doing this. I think it's really interesting. This isn't the first time they've done it. So I would like to see maybe someday they do an actual animated series. I think that would be really, really cool. Or, if not, just another season of Sonic Prime on Netflix, or just another Sonic TV show. This is the thing. It's like I said in the Sonic 3 review, which, by the way, go watch. They're setting up this universe now, and Sonic is definitely coming back in a strong way, especially through Shadow, of all people. Like, this is the thing. Shadow the Hedgehog is saving the Sonic franchise. That's crazy. In 2024/2025. That's actually crazy to think. Like, it's been a roller coaster for Sonic fans everywhere, but now this is definitely setting the series on the right path, setting it back up the hill. I only hope they continue to go up from here. I hope they don't fumble the bag. Maybe we'll get like a Sonic Frontiers 2, and that could have a prequel anime. Maybe we'll get some other thing going on. I just hope they keep this trajectory, they keep this momentum, because this is really cool to watch. Again, it's love letters and fan service to the fans. So, yeah, overall, if you want my opinion, which I could have summed up right at the beginning, I could have literally just started the video by going, this is good! And then that's it, the video just ends. But Sonic X Shadow Generations, which that title is still way too long, I will just say no. Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings is a really good animated series of videos, but again, just watch the one video. I really, really enjoyed it. I think if you're a Sonic fan, you'll really, really enjoy it. I recommend watching it before you play the game. Like, if you've just bought Sonic X Shadow Generations, while it installs actually, put it in your PlayStation or your Xbox or your Switch, while it installs, watch this. 14 minutes, then go back, play the game. It will hype you up even more and get you ready for what's in store. And like I say, the series ends where the game begins. So they do sort of go hand in hand. I do wish it was in the game. It's not, but it's on YouTube for free. So you can't really complain because it's free. But anyway, that's been me rambling for near enough 30 minutes. I'll obviously try and chop down the video. There's going to be a lot of editing, a lot of ums and ahs I'll probably have to edit. But like I say, I don't script these reviews. I just think it's more organic and natural for me to just see the thing, especially when it comes to watching something. Like, I'd rather just watch it, and then even if I am rambling on camera, then I'll just ramble on camera, but you'll still get a review out of me. Do you know what I mean? And also, isn't it crazy to think that I haven't done a solo review in a very long time? And the first one I decided to do is of a little animated series on YouTube. So, if anything as well, let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys want me to bring back my review series? As I say, like, I do miss doing them, and I don't mind doing them. I'll probably stick to this style though, because my older reviews were scripted. I did actually play games, and then I'd write a script, write notes, and then I would work on the review. But if anything, actually, I just prefer doing them like this. Very easy. I can just sit comfortably in my chair and talk to you guys about video games. So, let me know in the comments, or again, by destroying that like button, whether you guys want to see more of my reviews, as well as me and the lads will always do some three-person reviews as well. But until next time, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Again, don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. And until next time, as we always say, you'll see us, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.